Welcome back, guys.
Welcome back, everybody.
Right, turning something now. Turning something out of you. I'm totally winging this. I don't know. I know what I'm doing. I've got a picture in my mind of what I want, but I ain't got no measurements. I don't know exactly what I'm doing or how I'm doing it. I'm going to let the wood speak to me. Right. I've got this piece of yew. I've prepared it. I want that's a circle I want out of it. But the problem with this is it's got a very nasty crack. 2 cracks actually go right through. Now, looking at it, it looks like they only go down to roughly about there, which that's going to give me plenty for what I want. Okay. I didn't want to cut it down anymore on the bandsaw. I want to work from this sort of size of wood. So I think I'm going to be taking that down to that much. But first off, I'm going to mount it on a worm screw. I've pre-drilled it. And I'm going to turn this off, and I'm going to put a recess in here, because once I've turned this, I've got to have this inside it. So that sort of thing, and that's what we're going to be doing. Okay, so I'm going to mount now, because I've got those cracks there and they come up to that far. I'm going to use the full worm screw. Okay, I'm not putting anything on to reduce its depth, because I want to know this has got it, just in case. You've got to be, you've got to think and be safe. It means a bit of and it's going to be tight. So right, I'm going to tighten that up to there. That's tight enough. Don't go wrenching it. Now I'm going to back it off quite a way, okay, like so, and then I'm going to screw it up again. If I don't do that, when I come to take it off and it's a nice little bowl type shape and it's very smooth, it will be hard to get off. Okay, so that's it, just nipped. There we go, absolutely perfect. And because it's got those cracks, for security, when I first start turning, I'm just going to put my live centre up and be very careful with those. Now, I had it there earlier and I was doing something and I went like that just to throw some bits into my bin there, and look, I scraped my arm. I've put some stuff on to stop it bleed. I just scratched my arm right on the point of my live set. That's why these are horrible things. Get them out when you don't need them. Very good when you do. Right, that's it. It's just up there just to make sure. Now I know I can turn this at a nice bit of speed, can take some heavier cuts, because it's not going anywhere. It's between centres. It can't come off. It can't go nowhere. Always make sure your piece is safe. And my advice has always been, put your tool post, for you new to turning, put your tool post right on the corner where all the heaviest cuts are going to be at first. Remember, this is square and that's going to be hitting down, so that's got force, So right, that's where I'm set at, close as that. As soon as I've made literally 2 or 3 cuts, tool rest will come in and I can get it closer, because I'll start getting that shape. I've basically got to get it to the round, put a foot on here. Well, I'm probably going to go for a recess. Sorry if the dogs are barking, I've got the doors open for them. So right, okay, that's what I'm going to do. Now I'm going to use a variety of tools. I'm going to use traditional, I'm going to use some carbide. I always say to use both. That's what I'm going to do. Quickest way for roughing this down, for getting it to size, can't use a roughing gouge. Simple reason being, nothing to do with tangs, nothing to do with breaking tools. It's a simple thing. If I come in here with something as big as that, as soon as that comes there, it's going to hit that. It's going to try and remove a complete slice. If you put that piece of wood there and you was to put something like a chisel on there and hit it, it would peel, that complete slice would drop off. If you do it that way, it wouldn't. It would bounce on it. Right, it's no different to this. That comes down, it hits there, it will try and throw a complete chunk off. It could even split the bowl right in half. Okay, that's why we don't use it. It's got nothing to do with tangs or any of that, or breaking things. It's a simple fact, it will try to do that. That's what makes it dangerous. Right, so I'm going to go on here. A lot of people use a bowl gouge. If you want a bowl gouge, use one. For me, spindle gouge. That's what I'm going to use. I wouldn't use a square carbide. Square carbide's okay. Put your tool rest that way and push that way on it, and then yes, you'll take it down very quickly. Don't recommend using this way. Same thing when it comes there. One, that's a hell of a lot of banging on that, and when it comes there, it's the same thing. it can want to throw that whole bit off. So not the way to do it. If you do it with carbide, use your round. I'm speaking fast, I can't help it, I always do. It's because if I slow down when we're talking, Lisa jumps in, I have to, if I keep it going, obviously I don't get a word in edgeways. See, that's the thing. You know this, guys, with women, don't you? If you don't speak fast, they keep jumping in. You take a breath and they're like, Anyway.
Lucky if I can get a word in edgeways.
If you're going to do your round carbide, handle right down, come in like this, tool on an angle, and you'll make lovely cuts. No bouncing, no grabbing, no catches. Impossible, you can't get a catch. That's the way to do it. I'm going to do it with a spindle gouge, and I'm going to use a nice little 1/2 inch spindle gouge. Okay, this one, nothing big, nothing fancy, just a 1/2 inch spindle gouge. Right, okay, let's get going. Put my coffee out of the way.
Yeah, you don't want to get any U shavings in there.
After all that talking, right, needed a drop of coffee. Don't shut up, does he?
No.
All right, and you might want to know. Sorry, get back to it. This is what it's going to be. Right, what I've got in my mind is I want oh look, lights on. I want it for one of these lights, and this is going to be it's for in our toilet. Okay, I think they'd be fantastic sellers. These, if you make them up for selling, it's going to have a little potpourri dish with a little so it's like an old-fashioned type candlestick, yeah, where you got the base, but this is going to have a bit for potpourri to go in, and then the lamp to go on the top of it. Okay, that's what I'm going to have. So it's got to have the candlestick bit coming up the top there. That's what's in my mind. So now I've got to transfer that from my mind to this piece of wood. That's what I love. That's my style of turning. Okay, no numbers, no figures, no diagrams, no plans.
Yeah,
just
no measurements, guys.
Straight work it out. The wood will let me know what I can get from it. That's my style of turning. Okay, now I know, because I don't normally slow my lathe down at all, and I know at the moment that's on 2,500 RPM. I'm going to slow it down a little bit, because at this size, that's being it's got that little bit of cracking on it. I'm going to slow it down a little bit. I'm not sure what it's at. I'll tell you when I start it. I know it's not going to go anywhere. 1998. There you go, that's quite a good year. Yeah. Right, okay, so again, keep your tool rolled over, come in, just make a couple of light cuts. As you see, the wood goes very fast, and straight away I've got too much overhang, so come in. Nice and slow, don't hit the piece. Now straight away the change in the ribbons lets me know, look.
Yeah, going up against the wall.
Because this, yeah, I didn't bring my blind down, did I? Never mind. That lets me know I'm down to round because of the way the ribbons and the sound. See there, look. That noise there, that tells me it's still square. That there tells me it's round. Right. Take that in stages. I don't want to take as big a cut in one go. Right, I've got this piece here. I'm going to come in slowly. I can see the shadow. I'm going to make some cuts just this way. I'm just shading that so the chips don't go to Lisa. Right, bring that round, just so I don't burst off the end there, see? And all I'm doing, handle right down like this. No, impossible to get catches. There we go. Right, that's round there. So now I'm just going to bring this round to meet up with it. Quick as that, done. Okay. So I'm going to take a little bit of that down, move my tool rest round to here, so it's not too much of an overhang, and I'm just going to make a little cut coming in a bit. That will clean that bottom up, and it gets rid of all the heavy cuts before I take this away. I know I'm on a worm screw, and I think the worm screw is very safe. But as I said, for security wise, when you're making your heavy cuts, keep everything in place. Now, I've got to look at it. Now, it's going in the corner, so I can only have it about that big. So, let me transfer that big onto here.
Yeah.
I can only really have the potpourri bit about that big. This would be too big, it wouldn't fit where it's got to go. Okay, so I might as well, before I take this away, I might as well get that down to its size. Okay, I know a lot of people think it's a waste of wood, but I don't need the wood for anything else. Right, I'm going to stick with a spindle gouge at the moment. I'll probably go to carbide when I start doing the front of it. Right, I'm going to leave it at that sort of shape because I've got to take that front down quite a bit because we've got all that crack in there, haven't we? Yeah. Just going to bring this down now. There we go. Quick and simple like that. And if you, that's all done with a little half-inch little spindle gouge, half-inch spindle gouge. Okay. Don't need any big tools, big bowl gouges, and as long as you cut and you don't ever scrape, that will stay as sharp as it was when I first started. Okay, right, now I'm going to take this away, clean that bottom off, take this out.
Yeah. Don't cutting yourself up again, baby.
Right, move this stuff just out of the way for a minute. Now I'm going to bring my tool rest round and get ready to put a recess in the bottom. I think a recess is going to be the best thing for me to hold this on. Right, so I'm just slicing in. I'm going to come here, take that off, put a little dibble just there, and now I've got to think of what jaws do I want to hold it on. And how big do I want the recess? I don't want a tiny thing, I don't want it to go over massive, and I want a bit of clearance on it, so I think I'm going to use my small shark jaws. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to measure around here. Now, it's not important when you're doing tenons for it to be perfect circles, but things like this, that's sort of, if you give yourself a 5 to 6 mil gap there, that will make it roughly a perfect circle, and that's what I want this to be. And I will just measure out to that. Okay, and that's going to be good enough there. So, just to give you an idea, in case you've got those record power ones, what I've got there, from there to there, is I'm 62 mil. Okay, so I'm 62 mil. So if I now wind that in, because I marked my centre, bring that into 31. Sorry, it's a little bit fiddly doing it like this. Right, 31 there. So bringing that into 31, if I now put that on the centre and just touch with that one, that gives me my recess, my 62. Okay, that can be safer because that touch in there, it won't flip up. When you come in and you put one there and match this one up, if you happen to touch that, especially when you're new to turning, it will flip it over. It's not going to kill you, but it'll flip it over. It could startle you. You might fling it in the air or do something, I don't know. Might wet yourself or whatever. Who knows? Right, okay. So now I'm slightly high. Now I'm starting to do face work. So face work I like to be on centre. So now I'm just going to make a couple of cuts out to there. Right, I've got to go a little bit deeper than that because I've got to take quite a bit of this away. Right, I think that's going to be enough. Now, because of my angle I've got on my tip, I can actually use that to actually come in and give me my dovetail. Right there. So I've got a slight dovetail there. I've got that little dimple there. I'm going to take that out, like so. But now, because that's very clean as well, very clean finish, okay? Could just be a little bit there. There it was, see it?
Yeah. So the angel hair goes flying.
Right, okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in, I'm going to lower that a little bit more. I'm going to do a little bit high there.
You're going to do a button.
I'm going to do a little button on there.
Yeah.
So I'm going to come in, I'm going to do a small one there, and then I'm going to do a bigger one there. I'm going to take that little dot off of that. Okay, and then I'm just going to round that in like there. Come round here and just give that a little bit of depth, like so. That's it, that's enough. I don't need any more than that. Okay, that just does that little bit of finish. So put that tool back. Now I'm going to do, we'll take that slight little edge there. Now I'm going to, let me see. I'm going to come from, that's going to be the diameter at the top, probably slightly in. So if I come from here and I pick up my cut there and come around, yeah, that's going to sit on this flat bit there. Open my flute, bring my handle round. There, beautiful finish, and that's going to be my bottom. Okay, so that's where my bottom's going to be. So now I think, because I'm going to have it on my sharp jaws, I'm going to do a little bit here. So I'm going to bevel on to pick that cut up. So I want to pick it up from that line. I don't want to start round there again. So bevel's got to be on. It's a little bit of open the flute and rotate the handle. There we go. Now just straighten that up. Go off the end because all that's coming down in a minute. Right, that's going to be okay there. What I'm going to do now, this will be a little bit longer video because I'm talking you through it, and I want you to, I'm taking these cuts, but I wouldn't normally cut as slow as that. I'm doing these very quick, very slow because I want you to see them. Alright, now I'm going to just give this a little clean up with some sandpaper. Right, let me get a nice fresh bit of 180. Right, this is you, so we definitely need dust extraction on. And face shield at all times, respirator. If you haven't got a respirator, make sure you've got a dust mask on. You're turning you. Some people can have a reaction with you.
A lot of people have a reaction with you.
Well, yes, that's just part of me, isn't it? See, because I'm going to open my shark jaws, I'm going to be able to still get to all this bit, but I don't really want to touch this bottom bit anymore. Right, that should be alright. Right, now I'm just going to use a little bit with the rotary pad. I've got a video on making this one.
I'll put the link inside the descriptions for this video.
There we go. That will be... I might go down one more for it. Lovely, this little hand sander. You don't always want these sort of big things like this. You don't always want all that. You know, sometimes this little palm one, it sits there nice. You get right in close. Ever so easy to make. And pennies for the bits. Right, okay. That is that. I'm taking that one off, putting that one back on there. That's done. Now, I'm happy that that's going to be done there. Just get a cloth just so I can take the dust off of it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that off. That's making a bit of noise. I'm going to put a little bit of sanding sealer on this bottom, and then I'm going to put a bit of wax on it. And I'm going to use Canuba wax, and the reason being, I've said before, with Canuba wax, because it's very hard, and I make my own up. Here, I've spoke about that on a video before. I make it very, very hard, okay, and it stops any problems with fingerprints when people handle pieces.
Again, I'll put the link in the description box for the instructions on how to make that.
A little bit of sanding sealer. If you feel more comfortable stopping the lathe to put it on, then do so. I'm happy with what I'm doing. Right, a few shavings, and there's loads of them about. Right, that's that. And now put some Canuba wax. Nice even coat. Very hard, but don't worry, it won't bother the wood. It doesn't affect the wood. It won't scratch it or anything. Now, I like to come back on with some of the shavings to take the initial part of the wax off, and then I'll put that bit down there, I don't need that. And then I use my bit of rag, bit of towel. Okay, again, if you don't like using a bit of rag, then use a bit of tissue if you want, but it's not as good. Very light. And that's it. Just remember, don't wrap it around your hands, just hold it like that. If it gets caught, woof, it's gone. That's all that happens. Okay? Right, that's that. That's that bit done. Right, so that's our bottom we're going to have, okay?
That's lovely.
So that's going to be the bottom of it. Happy with that. Right, now I've got to get it off the worm screw. Now, this is where I say, doing that, backing it up, there you go. That's nice. Now, if you do find, let me take this off for a little second because I can talk. If you do find it's a bit hard to grip as well, just lick your fingers and then you'll get a good grip on it. A lot of the time that's all it takes. Give your fingers a lick, especially when it's round bowls like that. Yeah, I can see that crack goes down to sort of here. If it's got the crack in it, it won't matter. I'll put a little bit of super glue in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a nice bottom. That got some nice patterning on it. Right, okay, you leave that there. Take this off. There we go. Right, that lives up there. Now I'm going to put my sharp jaws on. Right, and hopefully that should sit in there nicely with, right, no marking. Right, now see where I said, look, that's for that perfect circle, which about 5 to 6 mil gap on here gives you a perfect circle of that. Now that's not, it's, as I said, with recesses it's more important because it's a bit like a dovetail. You want a dovetail to fit. Okay, if you do any carpentry, you know what dovetails are like. You put a dovetail in, you want it to fit nicely. That, then it can't come out. Once it's gone in like that, it can't come back out. So you want that to be right. Now, tight and a nip. That's all you can do. Because when you start this up, it will open up a fraction more. Inertia will do that. You don't want to crack your piece or split your piece. And remember, if you over tighten it, as you turn thinner and thinner, you take the stresses off the wood, that's when it will crack later. It might not crack now because it's thick, but as you get to start turning this down, that's when it could crack because you're taking away the bulk of the wood. Right, everything's nice there. Okay, now I've got to take this down quite a bit. I can see where that crack goes. Now I only want a low sort of dish. But when I come in, I've got to make a hole in the centre that's going to take a tenon off the piece that's going to come up. Okay, so I've got to do that, and I've got to leave that bit in the centre and turn around it. Yay. That's what I'm thinking on.
You can do it.
Right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to put my, actually I'm going to put my tool rest just here on the side. I think I'm going to stay with a spindle gouge for now. I'm going to bring this down on its depth now. I'm just going to have a look here. I can see where that crack comes to there. Right, hopefully that will get rid of pretty much most of the cracks. So I've got to take around, what is it am I taking off? I know people like to know. 15 mil. So I'm going to take 15 mil off, and that should give me a crack free. So I'm just going to move some of this because I've got
It's
an
like
absolute
a mountain.
I mean, it's only a little piece of wood that I've taken on up. Massive shavings. That's what's nice to see. When you got that, you know you're getting your cuts right. Okay, let's take this down a bit. And like I always say, I do recommend, you can do this all with carbide if you want. You can do it all with traditional. Entirely up to you. Do what makes you happy. For me, I like to use all the tools. I love all tools, and I like to use them all. Okay, be able to use them all. So, like I said, you can do whatever you want. I'm going to stay for the now with a spindle gouge. Spindle gouge has got to be my most favourite tool. And the speed still, it's actually 1999 to 2000. It keeps going one up, one down, one up, one down. So, again, I'm going to come in here. Tool handle down. And using my cutting edge. So I've got to take a lot of wood off of this. Right, I'm going to just have a look there and see how that crack is. Yeah, I think I'm near enough to get rid of it at that. There's a couple there, they're still there. Oh, that goes right down to there, so I'm not going to get rid of it completely. I think I'll start doing it, hollow out a little bit, and then see, I might put some glue in it. Right, okay, let's get this down to that size anyway. Now I don't want to scrape at any time. Don't be tempted to pull back, you'll just blunt your tool and you'll tear the grain up. Drop the handle and that will get it nice. Right, now I'm going to just take a couple of cuts across the top. I don't want to push hard on it because we're on that recess, so it's better if I can keep cuts going this way really. Just have to move a bit faster like that. Sticking with my ½ inch at the moment because it's real fun actually. Right, I'm way above centre. Look, you can see where I am, that's above centre. So I'm just angling down at the moment. So I'm just going to come on here. Clean that edge there. Right, and before I take any of that mass out, I don't think I want to do a lot on that outside, mainly just clean it up I think. I'm quite happy with that size and that shape.
Yeah.
So now remember, cuts have to come this way, okay? They don't go that way. So all I'm going to do is clean it up. Right, got a little bit here on this bottom, getting a little bit of bounce there.
Sorry guys.
Right, that's nice. Now I've got it. I've got just a line there. I'm just taking that away. Just take your time. Probably not a line, that's probably the pattern.
Yep.
Right, that's it. Now I'm just going to take a little cut like that. I don't want a sharp edge on it. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to come in and do some on this side. Now I'm on centre. Now I want to just first off just come from the right from this edge and just bring that in so I know that's nice and clean on that edge now. So I don't need to come back to any of that other than for the sanding part. Now I'm going to take this down from here. Right, I'm going to make a hole in there and leave a bit. I will probably leave a bit about that size so I can come up for the lamp bit. Right, okay, so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to make a few cuts here. Now, I'm not going ultra thin, one because I've got those cracks, and two because this has got to remain with a bit of weight to it, because it's going to have that lamp head on the top. Yeah?
Yep.
So right, I'm going to come in here, start from here, open my flute up. I'm probably going to do most of this with the half-inch spindle gauge actually, just because of the way it's working. Right, okay, I'm going to... Right, I've got a nice little bit of thickness. Like I say, it's got to have weight in the base, okay? So now what I want to do is I want to just do a hole in the bottom. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to use a detail chisel. This has got to be just a little recess for me to go into, you know. So just for me to drill into, not drill into, I mean to put a little tenon into is what I'm meaning. There we go. Right, I've got to that point, and now I should be able to just use the 14mm square. Don't want it all on there, I just want a little bit of it, so I'm coming just to there. Right, can't get quite in, but this gives me a nice hole at the top. Put that back there, come back with that detail and just clean this up in here. Nice straight side. Can't get quite in there with the square because it hits the bottom. Right, I'm happy with that, that's going to be that. So I'm going to go back to my spindle gouge. And I'm going to just take this off of here. Very carefully. I want to keep that flat as I can, and then my bit's going to go onto that, okay? So now I want to come down and just clean this bit up. Drop your handle and cut up on the top, and it will take that off, okay? So you don't have to go in this way. I'm going to go a little bit deeper than that. Not too much, I want that weight. When I put that on, when I glue that in, I've then got to turn that, which I will do between centres with this bit on, okay? I think I'm going to go a little bit deeper. So again, come up, easy way here is put, slice your little shelf. Like I said, if you put a little shelf, this is for no catching. You don't want to get a skip and come across the front. Got that little shelf, now you can put your bevel on there. Open up your flute to get your cut. As it comes out, oh hang on, let me just move my tailstock out of the way. My arm was just touching the tailstock then. Right, I'll go back to that. So we're on the flute, we open our flute, we pick up the cut. There we go. As we come round to here, this point, we can open our flute a bit more because we're coming onto the bottom. Right. I've got to just move my foot round, I was caught behind that. So as I come down to this point, I've got my flute open now, pretty much. So as I come into here, because I'm now going across end grain. I've got grain goes this way, yeah. So as I come here, at a point I've got side, but a lot of time I've got the end grain as well. And we don't want to push into end grain, we want to cut end grain. So if you open your flute, the end grain comes down on this and it's slicing it, okay? So as I come down to this, we've got our flute opened, so we're coming across, it's now slicing. As I hit into this bottom bit, I need to drop my handle and bring myself up. That way I continue to cut the fibres and I won't get any tear out on that bit. The tear out on there will be a nightmare to try and get rid of. Okay, and I've just got to brush that from where I come up and finish. So I'm going to be turning on that anyway. Right, I think that is all as good as I need it to be. So I'm now going to do a little bit of sanding. Like I said, there are other tools and other ways you can do things. I'm just showing you what I like to do. Now I can see I've got that, because I was talking and stopping, I've caused a little bump just there, which I'm going to come in and take out. Don't try and sand it out, you always want to cut it out if you can. I'll move that over a little bit, I'll get that in closer. That's it. Right, so as I always say, come in, don't try and start a cut here because you have to take a whole new cut. Put your bevel on here, come back, it drops in, rotate. Come in, and that's how you'll get rid of it. It's just learning a little bit about tool control and how the bevel should be on certain parts of the wood, and then you'll have total catch-free turning, and you'll have the ability to be able to turn anything you want to turn. Now I'll probably be doing some more on this anyway when I put the bit in and I've got to turn all that, but for now I'm just getting it and be careful, don't generate any heat. We've got, well, it won't matter to you because you're not turning this piece, are you? Your wood might not have cracks in it. Oh, come on, get in there. I can actually feel where that slight crack is there. Lovely. Right, okay, I'm happy with that. So what I'm going to do, is I'm going to do a little bit, I'm hoping I'm not going to be touching this anymore. So, I'm going to put a bit of sanding sealer on it, but not on this and definitely not in that hole, because I'm going to be gluing to that. So I just want that as it is, as a keyed surface basically. I'm just going to take the dust off of it. the sanding sealer. Let me have a look at it anyway. Get that in there. Right, yeah, that's going to be okay. That should blend in all right there. Yeah, I've got that crack there and a crack there, so yeah, we'll see what happens with that. Now that I might start going a bit deeper with that. I'm just going to sand and seal it. I'm not going to put no wax in there at the moment because I might actually go a little bit deeper than that. Looking at it, depends on how those splits go. But right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this off, put the spindle on and get that turned down and get ready. So I'll bring you back when I've got that. Right, okay guys, I've got my spindle. I've got it held in my chuck at the moment because I've got to drill a little hole in the end. The lamp that I've got going in is on it's on a bottle stopper one, okay? So I've just got to drill this hole. I'm starting off, that's actually 22 mil, and I'm starting off with a 20 mil. I'll just have to widen up the very edge of it for this to drop straight. I want it to just drop in nicely. I don't want to push tight, and I'm going to drill in just a little way, about sort of 15 mil or so with this, and then I'm going to use a smaller bit just to go in, and that will give where the taper is, okay? Because I'm going to actually do a bit of a taper, although so I might actually go more straight in because then it can always be used to put flowers in when I don't want the light in it. So it comes as two different things, can't it? A bit like a bud vase as well. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to drill this quickly. So I'm all set there. I'm going to turn my lathe speed down. Turn that. Right, don't worry about that. That's the drill, because the drill's just touching. Right, I'm down to 800. I'm just going to drill in this end here. I might actually drill down at this, because then, like I said, it can be used to put a few flowers in if I want. I'm still going to taper it. I'm going to go down to, right, I can see where that is on the drill bit. Let's see, what have I gone? Yeah, that's all right. And now what I'm going to do is change that drill bit over. So get rid of that one, and I'm going to go for actually this drill bit and drill it a little bit deeper with this. So I give a taper. If it's got side taper, when you put flowers in, they go out like that as well, which can be nice. So let me get that on there. So I'm just going to go down. I've got to go too far, but this is only going to be 3.5 inches long, this thing, so that's about it. Actually, I'm just going to have a look when I pull that out just to see where I've gone down to on that drill bit. Yep, that's okay. So if I measure that, see how deep I went. Yeah, I went just under 3 inches. This is going to be like 3.5 inches. So that's drilled 9 right down to its depth of this piece. So that will leave me enough room for what I want to do. Right, so take that out. Like I said, I have no plans, I have no measurements, I have nothing. I'm just working totally off the cuff here. Just doing this as I go along, okay? How I like to do things. Now I've just got to check with this how this goes in. Let me just get that dust out of there. Right, so as you can see, that gets tight there, and I don't want it to be too tight a fit. Is that going to go in? Near enough. All I'm going to do is just ease this edge. That's all I want to do, is ease the edge. Move that back out of the way. Let's get that back over there. Right, so I'm going to put my tool rest there. Bring that back, I'm going to be wanting that tailstock in a minute. Put me visor on because I'm going to be turning. Start up, turn the speed up. And what I'm going to use my little 9mm box follower. Need a bit more speed than that. On the spindle now. And I'm just going to ease this edge. Now, it's got to be very careful because we're a long way out on the chuck. I think that should be it. I think that'd be more than enough actually. Probably got a bit excited there.
It went too long.
No, that's going to be fine when that goes in because the lamp sits on this flat anyway, and now I can't get that out.
I use the lamp to screw it back out.
I'll show you what I mean here. Screw that in. Right. Now, see, now when I push that right in, oh, sorry, I've touched it. Actually, it might be better with the light. As you can see, like I've pushed it in, but I've still got this gap here, and I don't want that to happen. I want it to actually sit flat on this glass, so I need to take just a tiny bit off from inside there. So although I thought I'd gone a bit big with that hole, I actually haven't. I actually just need to take a little bit more there because the rubber sticks and then the lamp come up and then the lamp's a little bit wobbly. I don't want that. I don't want that to happen. This bit in here. There we go. There's a little bit of stroke in it, but what I do at this time will make it right. Right, that's still there's something. Right, let me just check. Have I got anything in the bottom? I'm sure I haven't. I've got a little yeah. Let me just see. No, there's nothing in the bottom. No, I think it might be the taper further down. Needs to just be
A little bit bigger.
Tapered out a bit more. Let me see now, just yeah, it goes with a put. It needs to be just a little bit further down. It's just this lip here. Ouch, that was my finger then. Caught between the banjo and the lathe bit. Right, let me go just very slightly deeper in here. There's that ledge, there it is, there. Make it so all tapers. There we go. A few minutes will make it all worthwhile. Because once you take it off the lathe, you won't be able to do that. There.
That's it.
That's it. Now that sits. Now that sits flat like that. Look. Okay. That will sit flat. But obviously, it's still tight. Still tight. Won't go nowhere. Okay. But this will be smaller here because it's not going to be as thick as that anyway. So. Right. Okay. So now I've got to come in here so I can start to turn this. Now one of the first things I want to do is just level that front and make that front dead square. Okay, and I'm going to do that before I'm going to be putting a tailstock up there once I start doing the turning. So I'm just going to come across there just with the square carbide, very gentle, tip handle down. there. I can see now that that there is dead square where it needs to be. Right. And now I'm going to bring a centre up and pop it in there to hold everything nice and still while I get this roughed down and sorted out. And come up a little bit. Spindle turning now, so I want to be above centre. Right, there we go. Okay, let's get this roughed down now. Box hollow away for a minute. Right, quickest and easiest way for me. Turn that speed up. 2,500. Lisa's now gets covered. Stand around there, darling. Right, before I go any further, I've got to get me measurement. Which was
3.5.
3.5. I'm going to go just slightly over because I've got the peg to go in.
Yeah.
So if I go at 4 inches, just slightly over. Just slightly over. I'll give myself a little bit of flavour. Right. Right, I have got the diameter of the peg already measured. So I'm going to leave that like that. So I'm going to be gluing that in and then putting it on, and then I'll be doing the turning on this once it's on the other bit. Okay, but I do need to do the peg. So I've got my doobry here and I've got my little peg making tool. Right, now, yeah, sorry, I need to measure just the depth of the peg.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be shallowing this a bit more. It's not deep enough yet. I will be cutting out a bit more, but I've just got to get the depth of that peg. I don't think that's going to go in. No, it's not. So I need to put something in there. Right, okay. See, this is all good stuff. So if I go from there, that's the peg. That's it. That's all I have to do. I do like working off the cup, I really do. Right, now I've got to make sure this is nice and straight, this bit here now. So let's put that there. Do a bit more, come on, come on. Going very gentle. I want this to be right. There we go. Hang on. Right, now I'm going to just... Actually, what I'm going to do... Put that down there a little bit. And I'm going to use my square carbide because I know this is going to give me a nice square bottom on here. Right, that'd be a nice square bottom, okay? I'm going to be turning some anyway. Now, I'm going to just part that off at that point, or saw it off. I part in a little way and then saw it, because obviously I'm held here. That's far enough. Right, I'm going to saw that off. That's what I want. Look, and I'll pick this piece of wood purposely to have half sap and half heartwood. I want the sap and the heartwood together. Right, move that back out of the way. Cut this off here. And come around that side so I can see. Get in there. Right, okay, that is now perfect fit. That has got to go in there, okay? And then I'm going to turn the patterning on this and blend it into that bottom bit while it's on the lathe, held back in there, centre in there. Then I'm going to turn that. And I'll probably come in and take some more cuts on this, make it a bit deeper. So I'm going to get this glued and I'll bring you back when it's glued. Okay guys, welcome back. Right, I've glued that in. I've got my towel stock there just to hold that for a second while it's glued up. That's all glued. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a few more cuts in here and come up onto this, and then I'll be shaping this. I'm going to move this away for the moment so I can turn, because obviously with that there I can't get in to do my cuts. So I'm going to move that out of the way. So just bosh, out that comes. There we go. And I should put it back when I do this spindle, just so that makes sure this has got a little bit of support. And on here I'm going to do a little scallop in, come down, probably do a little bit of a thing like that, probably a little beady thing there, and then another little thing like that, and a little curve at the bottom is what I'm going to do.
A little thingy.
Yeah, little thingies and doobries,
yeah,
are what they are. You might know them as beads and coves and stuff like that, but I know them as thingies and what's-its. So, bring my tool rest in just there. I'm not sure whether I'm going to be on centre. I'm probably going to go back to my spindle gouge for a little bit, mainly because I just love using my spindle gouge. And I'm just going to come in here, take a few more cuts, make this a little bit deeper down. Now, what I might say is I did put some super glue in these cracks, okay, and it's fine. They don't seem to be like they're going to open up or anything anymore, so it should all be all right. So I'm going to come in, like I said, carbide. If you want to do it with carbide, I might take a few cuts with the carbide just to show you how we do it with both. With the carbide, it's exactly the same. If you use, I'd use a 9mm box holder on this, and it's exactly the same. We come in here, we pick up our cut, we come around onto here, and again drop the handle down and come out, so you get that. We'll do some cuts with both, a little bit of both while we're working, okay? So you can show it's exactly the same. There's no difference between using that and the spindle gouge. It's just one's got a carbide edge and this one's got HSS edge. This one you have to sharpen, that one you don't, okay? So it depends on what you do. I like to use all of them, every tool. If I ain't got it, I want it. If I can't use it, I want to learn to use it. That's me, okay? And I like to turn different things. If I turn something like this today and I use traditional, if I was going to turn another one, I'd like to do it with some carbide, or I might even do it with a bowl gouge. I might use a spindle gouge and use a bowl gouge. I just like to change it up. That way it never gets boring. Right, okay. Right, I'm going to start that up. Everything should still be the same. I'm a little bit faster actually. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. So I'm at 2,500 there, because I was doing the spindle, weren't I? So I'm going to go back to me 2,000 RPM. That was that. I wouldn't turn it much slower than that. It's actually just over 2,000. It's 2,050. Right, okay. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to make a few cuts just to come in on this. Now again, because I can't get my handle round here to get on the bevel, okay, because I've got this now, I can't get round there. So I'm going to definitely have to make a little starting cut, like so. So I can then get my bevel on that if it will allow. No, it's not enough, see? Right, I'm going to have to come in a little bit more. Bring these cuts down a little bit, like so. Okay, the handle's dropped and I'm cutting on this edge here. So I'm actually slicing like that. That way we won't tear nothing up. Now I might just, no, I still can't because I've got this. That's the most I can come to. There, right, I've got it. And as we get to the bottom, flutes open, we come up. I'm going to come onto that because I want to get that to blend. I'll need to take a bit deeper cut there. Right, now, again, how would I do it with the carbide? Let's see. Let's see what we can do if we can get on there with the carbide. So it would be exactly the same. I'll come in here, I'll roll it, I'll pick up the cut there, I'll come round, bugger, can't see bugger all, get to there, drop my handle, and I'm coming up like this. See where it comes up, look. Can you see that? Yeah. And that way, here, this, we get no tear out on here and we get a lovely transition there. Okay? So I'll show you that one again and try not to get too many wood shavings, but you know, this is carbide. It will produce so many shavings. Right, so, I can't obviously get on like that because this silly bit won't allow me. So if we've got a little slice here, like so, that gives me a little starting point. Roll it, pick up the cut, there it is, look, cut in, go in. I'm going to try and do it without getting too many shavings. Come around, onto the bottom, open our flute slightly. I'll get rid of that. Open our flute slightly like this, so we're open. Drop the handle and work up on the top. Like so. That will give us this. Don't worry about this bit because we're going to be turning that. That will give us this beautiful transition here. Okay? Like so. Now, I think I can do one more cut. But that's how we do it with the box. And the box hollow is the only one that can really do this. There we go. Right, see, when I'm not talking, it just happens naturally. And I'm not trying to sort of demonstrate it. But yeah, box hollow is the only one that can do that. £36, free UK post.
Wow.
What a bargain. Right, okay, let's take that away. Let's have a look at what we've done anyway. What have we done? And look at that finish in there. Look what we've got. Now that's deep enough now. I'm happy with that. Okay, look at that finish. That was done with carbide. Eh? It's not possible. You can't do that with carbide.
No.
Everyone tells you. Right, now I'll come back up to, I'm going above centre. I'm going to bring my tool rest in here and put it actually inside. A little bit sit. I tightened the nut up. If you ever see me struggling to push this in, I tightened the nut up under there because my handle was going over a bit too far. And I adjusted it, and it makes it a little bit stiff to move at times, you know. If your nuts are tight, it makes it a bit stiff. I'm sorry about that, guys. I just, you know, some people, I don't know. Right, okay, so right, we're going to do some bits on there. We've done with spindle goes. We're not going to use spindle goes now. We're going to use carbide now.
Yay.
Okay, and we're going to do this with some. I'm going to use the stick with a 9mm for the moment. What I've got to do first off, because I've got this here, I've got to clean this up. Yeah. Got to be careful on the depth. I've got plenty of depth there. Okay, right, I'm going to put this in because if I don't, it's going to be a little bit on the screechy side because it's hollow. Yeah. So this is very thin. Okay, this will just give me a nice little bit of stability. Let me just come back a fraction because I don't want it touching the tool rest. There we go. That's all it is. It's just touching. It's not tightened. I don't want to tighten it because I don't want to split that. Now I'm keeping that at that depth, and I'm going to come in. I'm going to just do a little bit of a shape on it. So start it up. And now, of course, I'm not doing the bolt turning, so I'm going to go up a little bit on the speed. Just a little bit. Right. Right, a little bit of a... Yeah. Now, why does that happen when it goes brrr? Right, the reason being we're pushing in to the end grain, because this here, that there is end grain, and we're pushing into it. We don't want to push into end grain, so what we've got to do is we've got to drop our handle and cut up a bit higher, and we've got to cut it on here so it slices it. Okay, and we've got to be nice and gentle. Now I've got to come down this end and get this in. It's easier done with that going that way. See where I'm cutting on this edge here. I'm way above centre, and that way I can push in. If you push into end grain this way, it will fight back because you don't push into end grain. Right, now I've got to come in here. This is where I've got to be careful, so I've got to work up high. Well above centre. Now I've got to be careful on what I've got on thickness here. I'm going to come down here. I think actually I'm probably going to do a few little yeah, curve that in a little bit. Come down there, and then what I want to do is from there bring that in. Right, I ain't got a clue what I'm doing, I'm just looking at it and it's going to tell me something in a minute. Right, hang on a minute, I'm just gonna use the square for a second. Like a skew, so we've got to cut in, and I'm going to come out like that. Right, yeah, it's going to be a bit awkward to get in here. We don't want no skips or nothing. So we're just using this like we would a skew chisel. Right, and then what we're going to do, are we going to, I think we are, we're going to, it's a bit awkward getting in here without touching this bowl, like that. Come to there, don't go uphill. Come down there like that. So we've got that smooth bit, we've got this little bucket up there, we've got that little thing there, we've got a curve in there. And now what we want to do is bring this into chamfer into that. I can't get in there with a square. I won't get on the bevel. Don't try it, it won't work. Not that you're turning this piece anyway. So, what I'm going to do, I've changed my mind on that going over like that, and I'm going to actually bring it in. See, this is where it's awkward for getting in this little bit. So what I might have to do, we can't cut uphill, but if I showed you before, if I drop my handle, I can. So I've got to come down here. And do that. I think that doesn't look too bad actually. Some people might think it looks crap, but then
it's not yours.
got to do the finished cut. Drop that handle. That's the only way you can cut uphill. You must drop that handle, then you can go uphill. Right, and this here, I can just roll that and take that line away. See, that took that away straight away. There we go. Right, I'm just feeling that there. I'm just going to come down there. Very good. Don't do. Oh, actually, I like that. Yeah, a little straight there. That's it. That there, and then coming from that. I actually like that. See how it's just the wood will tell you what it wants. There we go. And it's just all done with a little bit of tool control. Just there. I've got a slight. I did that with a square, and it could have been just a little bit of a buff. That's it. I quite like that. Yeah, I've got that there. I've got that there. I'm leaving that. I'm leaving that like that. Like I say, it doesn't matter what you think.
I like it too. So that's alright.
Right, I'm going to take my elbow stabber out. Oh, it's a long way out, that was. Right, okay. Now I'm going to move this without hitting the piece, he says. Even though my things, look, see how stiff it is. See, if you mess about with your nuts, it all goes stiff. Right, okay. Let me get in here for a little bit of sanding. This is going to be more awkward now, isn't it? Let me put the dust extractor on. Because this is you. Not me, it's you. Now, this won't be as good as rotary sanding, but I can't get the rotary sander in there. Ain't gonna happen, so I've got to sand by hand. Oh, get off, will ya? Keeps taking me around that way and I want to go this way. That's it, now I'm there. Right, that's that bit done. Back it up. Right, I can use a rotary on here for this bit. If by using the rotary sander like this, you won't get the sanding marks, see? Although I say that, it's what I actually find with these ones, because they're turned by the piece, it actually does only really sand in that same direction. But don't always find they're that good. Not on here. Bit different with bowls, but if you've got your powered one, that's a different matter, because this is turning and that's turning, so you can actually come on there with it like so, and you don't get no sanding marks. So well worth, but obviously I can't get right down in there. I can get down to this bit. Well worth investing in one. And this is I get asked quite a lot about, is this an angle grinder? No, it's not an angle grinder. It is a Makita angle drill, okay, and it is the DA3010, okay, so the DA3010 Makita. It's absolutely fantastic. It's expensive, but it's fantastic. And if you're serious with wood turning, then get one. And don't go for the keyless chuck, get the keyed chuck, okay? It's a lot better, it doesn't get in the way. The keyless one, don't want it. Keyed chuck, and then there's a guy sells these. They're on my website. They're also a must, because if you don't, then it's very awkward to get into things like this because it gets in the way. And like I say, with things like this, sometimes you can't. I can't get in there with this. It's not going to let me. So basically, so basically, I'm just going to use the little pads to get in here. Like so. That's it, this one. Right, and the sanding arbors, like I say, if you do get those, you get a 3-inch one and you get a 5-inch one like that, okay? I ain't got a 3-inch one there because it's in the actual drill. So, you get a 3-inch one, that bar, you don't get the head, you just get the bar, fits in your 10mm in your angle drill. Will fit in other drills and other makes. Right, these are to come, okay, and that's the 5-inch one. You can use it by hand, they fit in the chucks. Axminster made their chucks to accept my arbors, very kind of them. So they are compatible with Axminster chucks. There we go. That's going to be enough. You're going to have potpourri stuck in it for Christ's sake. No need to go overboard. Right, okay, let's get a bit of sanding sealer in there. And again, as always, I mean, you know, you can put it on while it's turning, you can stop it. What I generally like to do is hit the stop button and come in and put it on as it's slowing down. That's how I like to do my sanding sealer. Like I said, that's me. I'm not saying that's how you've got to do it. I actually quite like that. I was a bit limited on what I could do with this bit here because obviously you can't get in there because of the bolt, you know, but I did show you how you can come in and get your cuts, even with your carbide, how you can pick the cut up and come in and roll it round. Okay, that's how you do it. If you don't want to get catches, if you want to push in and come round and hit this and bang, get a catch or tear it all out, and then you try sanding that, there's absolutely no tear out on that bottom there. Look, that comes up. We've gone into end grain there because that's end grain, and there's no tear out or nothing because the way we drop our handle and we come up, and when we come along, we come on the top of the wood, not along the side of the wood. We work in up here and we come across the top. That way you won't get tear out. And you won't get any catches neither. Okay, and it's all about not getting catches. We don't want catches. Catches really spoil your turning, don't they? You go out to do a few hours work in your workshop and you're having fun, and then bang, that nasty catch happens, your piece goes flying, you know, and it's just really spoilt your day. You're pissed off, you go indoors, you know, she ain't got no sympathy for you. She's like, so you've been out there all that time and you ain't done nothing. And you say, well, I've got a catch. Yeah, well, I told you useless, didn't I? See, that's what you'll get. You won't get no sympathy.
So you want to watch Glenn?
My mum was right. She said you was bloody useless. I shouldn't have married her. That's all you'll get. So you don't want catches, guys. You want nice fun turning. You want to go out there, come in and be, really enjoyed that. What'd you turn? A load of shavings. But I didn't get a catch and I've enjoyed myself. That's what you want, you know. Like I say, anything you see me doing, if you don't feel comfortable with, then you don't do it. It's as simple as that. If you are going to copy, then copy, don't do your version of it. Your version of it will probably go wrong. My version works, as I've just proved. We've turned this whole thing, okay, not the easiest things of turning, getting a cut round there, but as you've seen, we haven't had a single catch or anything like that. We've finished with a nice piece, okay, and if you're making these up with the little lamp for a craft fair, believe me, you will sell them. Let me take this off because I'm only doing a little bit of buffing here. I mean, you know, it's all right making these little wall plate hanger things and all that, little bowl with a hole in it and a bit of paint on it, but are you going to sell those enough on a weekly basis? How long do they take you to make? How many do you sell? It's like, you know, I've been asked so many times about doing big bowls and things like that. I don't turn big bowls. I've got no use for them whatsoever. How much you're never going to make a weekly income making big bowls unless you've got a certain contract. Look at that. That is absolutely beautiful. Lovely, isn't it? That is beautiful. Don't that seem a shame to sit that in the bog? But there you go.
It's a posh bog though, ours.
He's going to spend his life in the bog. Yeah. There you go. But you know full well, and right, well, hang on, let's just give that bottom a little clean. See, because we got a perfect circle, we don't get no marks inside our recess, so that's our bottom finished. That's our bum done. Because you know full well, if someone's sitting in your toilet having a crap, but they're going to turn around and they're going to pick that up and they're going to look underneath. You know that's what they're going to do. And what you really want to do is you want to get your pornography pen, do a bit of pornography on the bottom and say, put it down and concentrate on your shit.
Carry on contemplating on your navel.
Yeah. Oh. Right. Let's put that down there. Let's take this off. Well, I get a lot of people have said to me, and a lot of people do, whether you think so or not, whoever you are, a lot of people say they would like me to do a chatty video. They actually like to listen to me talk. I don't know.
Some.
All the women out there.
Yeah, the women out there want it.
Yeah. Me talk. See, take notes, Lisa.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so there we go. I'm going to pop that in there. You know the routine, guys. Right, I'm going to pop that on there. I'll get a little bit. So that's got. Look at that inside of that. And look how we got this. Look at that. Look how we got that transition there. How that come. Now I've done that with carbide. I finished that off. Okay, yeah. And we got that transition coming up there. Absolutely perfect. No tear out. No nothing. And we couldn't get in there with no power sand. A lot of sand in. You see that? There we go. Okay. Right, now I've got this crappy stuff here.
Yeah. Put the flowers on the top after.
Put that in there, right?
Oh, it was enough then.
That's just enough to give an example.
Yeah.
That's all we're doing is an example. There, a little flower there. Put one of those little silly things over there.
That's it.
Little thing, actually, let me take that big one there and pop that in that back there.
There we go.
There we go. Right. Okay, guys.
Look at that.
Right, and then, as I said, for what it was actually for, if it was. Now I know you might not. I've got some of these in the bronze. I think the bronze one would look nice. I might change. I can just chop and change them because they all go interchange and fit whichever. I could put a black one, depending on the mood, isn't it? Depending on who's going in for a crap. If the Queen comes around, I'll put the gold one in. Well, it won't be the Queen. It'll be the King now, won't it?
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
Charlie.
Yeah. Queen was here last time. So if the King comes round and wants to have a dump in me loo, then I'll put the gold one in. Make it a bit more regal for him. That one I prefer. Yeah. There we go, guys. That's it. Look, you imagine you go in for a dump in my toilet and this is in there. You know, that's going to be lovely, isn't it? Let me just tighten that a little bit there. So it sits straight. That's got, you know, you're not going to want to come out, are you? You'll go in for a wee and you'll see that and you think, I'm going to actually sit down and have a dump as well. because that's nice. You know,
nice.
and it depends on your mood. You might want a quick dump and have the bright light. You might want
a relaxing
one, or you might think, I'm going to really take my time and enjoy this. So there you are. But I can assure you, it won't be happening in my loo. All right. Anyway, I'm really pleased with that, guys. That's exactly what I wanted. It's turned out perfect. That's going to go on a little shelf in my toilet.
Yeah.
And there you go. Because I've said before, I do have tea lights, and I use tea lights a hell of a lot. I don't just turn them.
Every
I do
night.
use them. And every night there's a tea light left. It sits. I've got one of my tea light holders there. It sits on top of the toilet system thing, and it has a tea light. So when you go in there, it's a nice warming glow in there, and it actually keeps toilets warm and all. It's surprising how it does. But I keep it in there so you don't have to, when we turn the light on, we have a fan that comes on as well, an extractor fan. I have to have one of those because we're police wins.
You're right.
So it has the extractor fan on. So let me take that off for a minute. It has the extractor fan on as well, and it's quite noisy, you know. So when I get up for a wee, I don't want to, you know, disturb anyone. It's only Lisa there, I don't really care, but it makes her think I'm caring. So yeah, so we have a light. It's nice. It's a nice warm glow light in there. But you know, I've got these as well, so we can have this on, and that's going to go on a shelf. So when you go in there, you ain't got to turn the main light on and disturb anyone. You can just go, oh, there, a bit of light. Do what you got to do. Turn it off and come out. There you go. So that's it, guys. There you go. And I know loads of people have been asking me, where do I get lamps? Where do you get the lamps? Temu. That's where I get mine from. They are on eBay if you want to pay £15-16 for them. I know they were on Amazon, but then I think Amazon haven't got any now. But Temu. But I did say I got these very cheap. These white ones I actually got for 50p each.
Yeah, no
the
kidding.
white ones, I got a selection of white ones, and I got 50p each. I still prefer that light.
Yeah.
Shame it's just not one light on off. But there you go. What can you do?
Well, you get different prices.
Yeah. So I got mine off Timber. Those the first ones I got. I think they was, what was they, £2?
£2 something.
£2 each, something like that. And then the prices started going up because loads of people went on to buy them because I've done a video.
Yep.
Do. Anyway, but there you go, guys. That was a little chatty video. So, toodle pip. I'm going to go and have a dump and enjoy my light, and I'll see you on the next one.
Bye, guys. I'm not going in there.